Hello everyone, it is I, the Witch of Paint. Welcome to this video, which is coming out a day before my birthday. So, for this special occasion, I have decided to paint a fairy based on Pisces, which is my zodiac sign. And somehow the footage I collected of this painting came out at 3 hours, but through the magic of editing, it will only take around 15 minutes for you guys, so you don't have to watch me paint for 3 hours. Anyway, as I did with my Aquarius fairy, I collected some pictures on Pinterest to inspire some elements in this painting. And one of those things is Neptune, the planet, which will be chilling out in the background. It is, according to what I've found, the ruling planet of Pisces, though apparently sometimes it's also Jupiter, but at the time of painting this, I didn't know, so I just put Neptune in there, and like 2 planets in one sky would have been maybe a little bit too much, considering how much stuff is going on in this painting alone, so I just kept it at Neptune. This painting will also feature 2 fish because they symbolize Pisces itself. This is why in German we call this zodiac Fische, because it's 2 fish. Very easy for me to remember what animal my sign is associated with. And also for this I decided to draw a fairy, even though most of the stuff on Pinterest that I found was more like mermaidy because fish. But I decided a fairy above water taking a foot bath, that would be nice. And I also took this chance to basically draw myself as a fairy in there. It's my birthday, so, you know, my art, my birthday, my choice. I did struggle with a pose a little though, and honestly I don't know why I didn't go with a reference to let me stress out a little bit less about this pose. I don't know, I just didn't think it would be necessary apparently. I got close enough to a sitting position. I usually just struggle a little bit drawing people sitting. It always looks a little bit awkward. This one does still look awkward a bit, because I also decided to give her a skirt of all things, because that would look nice when it's in the water and flowing a little bit, though technically it's soaking wet, but you know, it looks nice. And once again, for this one, I decided to finally bring out my black ink again and my glass dip pen. And I had a little bit of a struggle with this because the Winsor Newton Indian ink did not want to flow down the glass dip pen that I was using. I don't know, I've been struggling a lot with the Winsor Newton ink. I think I should really switch, because when I took the ink glass that I had bought in the Netherlands, suddenly it was working fine, but I guess a waterproof ink that flows nicely is also a bit difficult, so not gonna be too hard on Winsor Newton here. Anyway, enough complaining about that. Let's talk about Pisces. Pisces is the last zodiac of the cycle, so the 12th, but technically if we were going by this year, it's the 3rd one. Who knows why this works this way? I don't know. At least. Oh well, it is a water sign, and as I've mentioned before, it is symbolized by 2 fish. That weird H thingy symbol. I hope you know what I mean, because that's a weird description of it. The 2 fish swim in opposite directions, which represent Pisces' division between reality and fantasy. Reality and fantasy, huh? I mean, I do like my fantasy stuff, so... Speaking of fantastical things, let's talk about the story behind Pisces. It's another Greek story, and nobody exactly says the same thing about the story either. So let's jump in, hope it's not going to be as bad as the one for Aquarius. From what I could find, the story starts with Typhon, who is the father of all monsters, and he's a huge giant. He's got the body of a man and snakes instead of legs, and he's got some, big wings, and the gods didn't like him that much because he wasn't the nice guy to hang around. you know? And then one day he's in a particularly bad mood and goes up to Mount Olympus, threatening all the gods there, and then most of them just turn into animals and run, except for Aphrodite and Eros. Why didn't they transform? Honestly, I am not sure. They're gods. They should be able to do it, I think. And I mean, they kind of do it. Like, there's versions of the story where they do transform, but then there's also versions where they don't transform. And in the version where they don't transform, they are picked up by two random fish that let Aphrodite and Eros jump on their back, and then they are carried away to safety. And because of that, the two fish were placed in the sky as a constellation. Yeah, thanks for helping out. I'm gonna put you in the sky and turn you into stars. Poor fish. Worked so hard and were put in the sky. Anyway, there are way more other versions than this, like the one where Typhon was sent by Gaia and Pan, one of the other gods, before turning into goldfish and jumped into the Euphrates. And I did look up if goldfish exist, and yeah, they do. And they're quite pretty fish, actually. But anyway, I think after that, the story pretty much unfolds the same way with Aphrodite and Eros. And then, yet again, another weird story that Wikipedia talks about, like weirder than turning into two fish to escape a situation you don't want to be in, is that an egg fell into the Euphrates River and two fish pushed it to the shore, and then doves hatched the egg, and I kid you not, out came Aphrodite? According to Wikipedia? I wasn't ready for that, Wikipedia, please. I have questions now. Lots of questions. Like, who laid the egg? How big was the egg? How big were the fish? Why didn't the egg break on impact? And how big were the doves who hatched it? And, like, how big is Aphrodite when she comes out of it? Like, is she a full-grown goddess? Why? I thought she was born from sea foam or something. I don't know. I need answers, Wikipedia. The original stories of Pisces are, I think, actually Syrian myths. The Greeks just kind of picked up on the stories and changed the names of the gods from the Syrian ones to the Greek ones. But other articles don't give that much more detail about that either. I should really get myself a book on zodiac mythology, because guessing all this stuff in between, or like the details that are in these stories that the articles don't really talk about because they are articles and not the actual story, it's getting a little bit tiresome. I should really just get myself a book. If you've got any suggestions for that, comment down below. Anyway, the only question that I have still about this is kind of like, why, if Aphrodite and Eros are kind of like the main characters of this story, why isn't Aphrodite's planet, per se, Venus? Why isn't Venus the ruling planet of Pisces? The best answer I could find to that was fish live in water, and water's Neptune's thing. Like, not the planet Neptune, but like the god Neptune, or Poseidon, whichever one you want to call it, but it's his thing, and so the ruling planet of Pisces is Neptune. Deal with it. I've also seen some images on Pinterest of the two fish to be represented in a sort of yin and yang kind of thing, which further plays into the supposed division that Pisces has between reality and fantasy. Obviously, not every Pisces or everyone born under the star sign of Pisces is going to be having a division between fantasy and reality, because humans don't fit molds. And I mean, I myself don't fit that kind of thing that much. I mean, I do like fantasy and stuff like that, but I don't really think I have a division between that and reality. I don't know. Could be wrong there, but who knows. Anyway, let's talk about my painting. this time around, there were no mishaps with me tearing the paper or whatnot. I had decided to paint my birthstones around my fairy, which are aquamarine, those blue crystals that I will be painting once I am happy with the sky, and also bloodstone, according to the internet, apparently. I just thought they were pretty, so I decided, why not include them in the painting? Birthstones, okay, fine, they don't really have much to do with the zodiac sign, but it is a kind of birthday painting, kind of also not really, because it's not my birthday yet. Either way, it fits. As I said, I was painting, properly actually just painting for 3 hours, but technically it took even longer for me because I also had to wait for the paint to dry, which you guys are spared of. You guys just watch the parts where I am actually painting on the painting and not where I'm watching the paint dry. Right, I kind of wanted her wings to look like kind of fins of fish, mostly because Pisces is Latin for fish. No, for fishes, sorry. Not just fish, fishes, the plural thing. Anyway, and I know that a lot of images on Pinterest, at least, associated Pisces with, a mermaid look, but I kind of wanted her feet to show, so she's a fairy and not a mermaid. Maybe one day I'll make a Pisces painting with a mermaid. Maybe next year, I don't know. And I also painted some water lilies in the left-hand side of that little pond there. Part of why this took so long was because I decided to put so many tiny little details in there that I wanted to get painted in there. So you've got the planet, the 2 fish, the fairy, all the stuff that's on her hood, the shells and stuff. Then you've got the water lilies, we've got the crystals and the bloodstone she's sitting on. A lot of little details that I just decided to cram in there. It looks cool in the end, so, And then I also got my metallic watercolors out because, let's face it, when there's something like this, I kind of felt like shiny is the way to go, just like with the Aquarius fairy. So I got out my metallic watercolors and I went over the crystals, I went over the water a little bit, added a couple of streaky lines with the metallic blue. I added metallic watercolors over her wings and also a little bit of that skirt. And I think that was all the metallic I used, but it does cover a great deal of the painting itself. I just couldn't resist this time, okay? But if I was to draw this again, I would probably change the way the 2 fish are kind of oriented, because right now they are looking as though they are literally as if you're looking at them from up top, which you're technically not. Technically, this should be a little bit more sideways, and it looks a bit weird compared to, the fairy that's putting her feet in the water. A little bit of perspective issues there, but that's about the only little issue I have with this painting. Just a little bit. The rest, I am happy with. I actually like the way I managed to make her legs look like they are actually underwater, like with the little transparent thing that kind of still looks like water, which is what it's supposed to, and the kind of rings coming out of it. I really like the way I made that look. I also had a little bit of a small struggle with the shadow on Neptune. Now, I honestly think I shouldn't have tried to put a shadow there. I should have just done a whole circle for Neptune, but I kind of also wanted that shadow in there, but it kept not being dark enough, and I kept trying to get more paint on there to get the shadow darker. In the end, the sky is dark enough, I think. It just looks a little bit weird around Neptune because I just tried to get that shadow there so much, and I even continued adding more paint off camera afterwards. I just didn't feel like you guys would want to watch me paint over that same spot over and over again. Now, let us dive into the final result. As long as this painting took to actually get done, I am really proud of how it turned out. Sometimes you're just gonna put a lot of time into something like this, you know. Other times it isn't as necessary, like with the Northern Lights, I didn't really need a particular plan, I just needed to put on some paint, and it still turned out pretty. But this time I definitely needed a plan because this was going to have a specific theme to it, and I wanted to get that theme right, in the way that I had pictured it at least. I love the wet darkness of the sky, the shiny little constellation, all the shiny stuff I put on there. The planet in the corner looks decent now as well, after I had a bit of a struggle with the shadow at least. And I absolutely adore her fairy and the little hood, little things she's got on her hood, and it's just... And the circling fish, even though they're oriented in a weird way, also are absolutely adorable. All in all, I love this painting, and I hope you all do too. So thank you all so much for dropping into this speed painting session. If you liked this, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe to my channel. Check out my Twitch down below as well, and maybe join on me on my Discord channel. For now, I am the Witch of Paint, and I will see you next time. Bye!